Day 4 in the Holistic Fast. I'm already feeling it, so all of you that are following it, I'm sure you're feeling it too. The 4th of January is when this will air and be posted. I'm posting them daily on my X account, Elia Hart at Elia Hart 111, on the Holistic Self-Healing group page, the public group page on Facebook. And also every day you can always go back and look at my site. That's actually where I'd like people to start accessing, is to really start going to my site. Eventually I'll upgrade my site, so there'll be more video and there'll be maybe a little bit more things will be a little bit more accessible. I realize that because it is an older site, that when you need to know the words in the search bar, the exact wording, in order to find the videos and the writings you're looking for. Otherwise you have to really scroll, but that's okay. It find what you're looking for. So today, let's see, where did we leave off? The healing crises. So I'm going to look here. Okay, so let's look at demonization and condemnation. That was a couple of things that came to me. So the demonization and condemnation that comes up when we're hearing something, especially if we're hearing something new or something unknown, something that you really don't have prior knowledge of. Sometimes the first response that people can have is demonization or condemnation. That reaction stops learning right in its tracks. So watch for that. Watch for those things that come up. And it can be a really great opportunity to really look at those patterns and transmute them. Love them transmute them, love them into oblivion. The second thing I wrote down here, gratitude. Well, gratitude comes through when we have that openness to learn. As I was writing and editing some of the Holistic Fast, I was recalling how there were times when I went to Pennsylvania to Doug Morrison's Body Electronics Intensives, and a lot of his lecture work was repetitive. So every time, for year after year, time after time, as most of you know, I went to everything between early January 2002 until he retired in 2007. And there was a lot of intensives during that time. And so I would often hear the same thing, and it would be very repetitive. And I would so open to the learning that I would feel the exact same lecture, the exact same principle being taught. Everything that was, I had memory of a great auditory memory. And I had that memory of how it was taught in the past, yet I remained open to it. And in that openness, that teaching went deeper. Each time I felt it a little deeper, I knew it a little deeper, and then I could apply it even further. So I encourage everyone, not just with the Holistic Fast, I'm not speaking specifically on this, although, to learn, it's going to be a huge learning curve. The 43 days are going to be a huge learning curve. So, of course, remain open to new ideas and new knowledge. But I'm talking about generally too in life. I'm attempting to release myself from most social media. So other than, I'm doing almost no scrolling, and really just looking at, posting to get my work out there. That's really going to be for 2024. That's really going to be my big focus on social media. But what I have seen in the past is the constant demonization, and they have the word haters, and I guess that's really what it is. It's like that hate being projected. And I'm not saying that people don't need to be called out for things at times when things are particularly wrong. I'm talking about doing it as a reaction, to being closed. So that's what I'm talking about here. Wisely and well. Oh, that's right. I wanted to go over. I got How We Heal right here. I can look it up in here. So there's Doug's How We Heal, still in publication, as I think I've mentioned before. I'm just going to look up his Wisely and Well, because I did post that on today's notes in day 4. So and I was, he did it in a way. He wrote it in a way that is good to have some clarification or some additional points made. Okay, where's Wisely and Well? There it is. Okay, so let's look at this first, the detrimental food choices. So he starts off with detrimental food choices. So that's good because, we've been doing the removal of many things. And then I'll go over and I'll go through the Wisely and Well. So he says, skeletonized or processed foods. I think that's pretty obvious. He says white sugar. Okay, so I think yesterday I went into that a little bit deeper, where it's much more than white, what we considered white sugar. Of course, get rid of all that in all of its forms in different foods. But if you're not eating processed foods, you're decreasing the white sugar. They put that white sugar in everything. You go to a fast food restaurant, which I highly do not recommend, and there's sugar. There's the exact amount you have sugar and sodium to make someone have a reaction, a biochemical reaction that sends the messages to the brain to say how great it is. Like MSG does that, right? So MSG has that, it makes you salivate, and then the brain decodes that as being something really great, and then it becomes a very addictive behavior then. Fast food restaurants, and not just fast food, but people who are producing processed foods, they have chemists that are creating that exact response in the food. So let's avoid all of that. Okay, those would be detrimental food choices. And Doug says white flour. I would suggest all flours, all grains, all but he's generalizing here. So white flour, margarine or partially hydrogenated oils. I don't think anybody watching this is going to still be using margarine. Heated oils, homogenized dairy products. When we were in Pennsylvania at Body Electronics Intensives, someone would go out to a local farmer who served the body electronics community and would provide all the raw dairy products, and we would get cheese and butter and so forth. And it was it was a really great thing for us. Pasteurized dairy products, foods that are sprayed with chemicals, canned foods, pork, caffeine, distilled alcohol, microwave foods. Get rid of your microwaves if you haven't already. Irradiated foods, anything that's it's hard to that's a hard one, because there's a lot of like things that come across borders are irradiated. So it's, to what degree, I guess, is what we're looking at here. Genetically modified foods, food preservatives, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, and aluminum cookware. So that's a basic list. If you haven't already removed those things from your list, then now would be the time to do that. So Doug goes through in his, before he writes it in the back, which I have put on this back here. There we go. I mean, I put the list, so you'll see this. You'll see this list on today's writings. So eat whole and natural foods. I think that's self-explanatory. Eat biodynamic and organic foods. Use fermented foods, particularly in winter. I find fermented foods extremely important. The body really slows down in the winter months, and it's a great time to really feed that gastrointestinal tract. So lots of fermented foods. I bought some great kimchi recently that we just use it as a side dish and put it on everything we're eating. Fresh foods, of course, fresh. We want fresh. We don't want things that are stale, things that are I've lost their chi, have lost their dynamic life force. Eat mainly local foods in season. We do that to the best that we can here in Canada. Of course, we have to rely on imported foods here if we want fresh foods and vegetables. So yeah, let's moderate that according to where we live. Raw foods. Eat raw protein. Let's talk about raw protein just for a moment. There's lots written about it on my site and on the links on the Wholistic Fast. You'll see it as well. You'll see the 5 nutritional essentials. I think it's already been I've already repeated it maybe twice already. So please click on those links and read through. The raw protein is in regards to building back our hormone capacity. And we do that through raw protein. When we don't have raw protein, our hormones, the nutrition that we need to create hormonal activity is lacking. It's really that simple. So if one level of our endocrine system lacks in hormonal activity, it throws off the entire endocrine system. So it's really, really, really important. But I recommend raw bee pollen, hemp hearts, and sprouts to start. Those are 3 really great ways to get raw protein. So put some hemp hearts on your greens, and slip it in wherever you can. You put it in soup or whatever you like to do with it. But you can have a little bit of crushed bee pollen. Bee pollen needs to be crushed because the bees really know how to encapsulate it, so it remains fresh forever. And so that's really important to crush it before you take it, and just take it right off the spoon, half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, whatever you decide. And it's we get the full spectrum of amino acids that the body needs to produce hormones. A high ratio to raw to cooked foods. I find that difficult in the winter months. It's fine for me in the spring, summer, particularly. Raw food, I could eat almost like 80, 90 to 100% raw. And, it's just very easy to do that. In the winter months, I find I'm desiring, soups and heavier, dense cooked foods. Like I even go into yams and squash, even though I don't, I'm like what I call healthy keto. I, in the winter months, eat some squash and yams, so yeah. Good quality salt, really, really, really important. You'll see that on, I have a really good write-up about salt. I really prefer the Bolivian rose salt, yet it's the link that I always have on that, on what I've had on that for 4 years. I always check out my links when I'm editing the posts, and so I went on, and they're out of stock, completely out of stock in all Bolivian rose salt. So really just see if you can find it elsewhere. I've never been able to find it anywhere else except that one that I've posted. It's hard to come by. So I just said buy some really good Himalayan salt until that comes back in stock. I get Himalayan salt like for cooking, like for cooking water. I get Himalayan salt. I even throw it in my bath, and that's from Om Foods out of British Columbia here. They have really good quality. Like everything else, if it becomes popularized, people often jump on the processing bandwagon, and things start to maybe be processed in a way that's not really that ethical. That has happened with Himalayan salt. So just be aware of that with your supplier. Deactivate phytic acid and enzyme inhibitors. So that comes in, phytic acid is in cruciferous vegetables particularly. So your cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, spinach, kale, on and on. So what we need to do with those is steam them for a couple of minutes, and that releases that phytic acid. For nuts and seeds, you either roast them, which can also throw off the fat. It makes the fat a little bit not as digestible, so and not as accessible. So, but roasting is a way to get rid of the phytic acid. But better than that is to sprout. So to put nuts and seeds into some really good purified water for overnight, 24 hours for some, and release that and really rinse them well. You can do it a couple of times. You can wait until the nuts sprout and the seeds sprout and then eat them then. That's a great way to do it. Eat lots of leafy greens. I included a video on potassium with Dr. Berg, and it's really important to eat lots of leafy greens to get your potassium. I also supplement with potassium, but we have to have lots of leafy greens. Potassium comes with bananas and potatoes, which I don't recommend either, especially during this fast. Let go of all the starchy vegetables and fruits. So yeah, lots of leafy greens. Combined EFAs and sulfur proteins. I've put I put a video and writing to describe what Doug is referring to there, if you don't have a copy of How We Heal. And I also put some, I took some pictures of some pages. I have Doug's permission to do that. And they're there on the writing, so you can read through that. But basically, I'm talking about is flaxseed with flaxseed oil with some sulfur proteins such as organic cottage cheese. There's a particular way to do that. That's why I put the old school, really, really cute old school video there, so you can see how it's actually done. And that's the work of the cancer specialist Johanna Budwig out of Germany. She did a lot of studying around that, and so you can research that. It's really, really great. Eat foods that have a historical track record. I touched on that with the seed oils. And I think that's really important and a good place to really begin. They do not have a long-term track record. Get some more. I got my celery juice. Use the best type of cookware. I would say what I use most is I have a really good, really good pan that has a copper bottom that is, cooks really evenly, and a stainless steel pan. And I mostly cook out of a ceramic, excuse me. And when I'm making medicines, I like to use a slow cooker. So it's like a glass, glass coated, it's really, really good. So it's not leaching anything into the medicines. We'll get into that further into the, I don't know when the medicines start coming up in the Holistic Fast, but they will. And yeah, so that's pretty much it on that. So salt and potassium we touched on, potassium being extremely important. It's I just say, so it's depending on weight, of course, but it's between 4,700 and 5,000 milligrams of potassium a day that we require. I have to really work at that, and I supplement 3 times a day. You can only get potassium supplementation on 99 milligrams. So I supplement 3 times a day, and I eat as much leafy greens and potassium-rich foods as possible throughout the day. Well, within the construct of the intermittent fasting window. So concentrate on that. There's a lot of symptoms that come with a lack of potassium. I was experiencing heart palpitations and different symptoms that were like came on and they just wouldn't go away. They were just like, ridiculous in their continuation. So I was trying so many different things, and it was actually when I clued into Dr. Berg's videos on potassium deficiency. Excuse me. And as soon as I started supplementing and being aware of my potassium intake, it went away and never came back. And other symptoms too, like I had my energy wasn't as good as it should be, and things just started coming back with potassium. So it's very, very important. That's all I have written down. So I really would enjoy hearing some feedback. You can go to the comment section in my, just underneath each post on my website, posts. Just, comments, questions, anything there. I would really appreciate and welcome that. So thank you so much for continuing, and we'll see you on day 5.